The Artisan Trail of Floyd County is a great way to kick off summer and get to know your local artists. Sponsored by the Floyd Center for the Arts, many of our local artists can be found using a map that will guide you to demos, galleries, and even some of the great eats Floyd has to offer.
The Artisan Trail is a weekend-long tour where artists will open their studios all over the county, and we also invite galleries and small businesses, restaurants, distilleries, anything that is kind of an individual trying to pursue creativity in Floyd. And they open their doors for the weekend, and we invite folks from Floyd, but also from states away to kind of visit and explore what people have going on. So any artist that has their own studio that they're able to open can participate in the trail. And then something that we've started doing in the past couple recent years is if an artist doesn't have their own studio, but they want to have a site here at the Floyd Center for the Arts, they can participate that way as well. So it really is an enrichment of the creative economy. So artists benefit because they're able to make connections with people who already live in the county and kind of expand their network. And of course, they can make sales throughout the weekend. But the Artisan Trail also serves as a way for people to kind of stay in touch throughout the year. The brochures that we print serve as the unofficial guide to Floyd. So if they connect during Artisan Trail, it's very likely that they'll be able to connect throughout the rest of the year. And it's really just a great networking opportunity. So I'm really excited about a couple new woodworkers that we have on the trail. We have St. Pierre Woodworking, and Bill St. Pierre does live slab tables and custom woodworking, custom restoration. And you might have seen his work because he's previously built these centerpieces for Floyd Fest. So I'm excited that St. Pierre Woodworking is back on the trail. And then we also have Wild Tribe Woodworking. That's Max Bain, and he'll be doing live sculpture on the trail this year, like live demos. So we get support because of all the businesses that are participating in the galleries, and so everyone pitches in to kind of spread the word about the event and hand out the brochures, and then it's something that people look forward to all year. So our community is really great about going out and traveling to the different stops and telling people about the trail and bringing their friends in from out of town, so it's really nice. Unfortunately, no, you can't really hit all the stops, so I encourage everyone to pick up a brochure and map out where they want to go beforehand. But the good thing about this is the brochure has everyone's location and their contact information. So like I said, since it's the unofficial guide to Floyd, the stops you can't make it to during the Artisan Trail weekend, you can visit for the rest of the year. So the Artisan Trail will be June 8th and 9th, that's Saturday and Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for more information, they can stop by the Floyd Center for the Arts. They can also visit our website at floydartcenter.org or look at our social media.
Our time here is limited, and we won't be able to get to see all the artists highlighted this year, but we were able to speak to a few and discuss their work. Our first artist is Dion Leone. She creates sculptures from gourds and found objects with obvious themes of women, nature, and horses. Like many of our artists, Dion's work inspires joy in simply admiring her pieces. That's enough of me talking. Dion explains her work much better.
Okay, so she is, I did a gourd lady over there who's Mother Earth, and I think she's going to be Mother Creation or Creative or something along those lines. And I've been gifted gourds. First, I found a whole stash of them in a barn and started making those little gourd animals, which you can see up on my website. And now they're kind of morphing into these female figures, and I love the idea that they've got kind of an interior. This lady's got this interior life that I gold foiled, and this nest will go in there. I think I'm going to repaint some of the eggs. The eggs are sculpted. But we actually did find this nest in our garage, and I copied the eggs before they rotted. It was abandoned, and so I copied the little, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe it was a wren, because they're nesting everywhere. So the nest will sit in here with a little bell and tassel that will hang about from the top. And maybe it goes back to like my I Dream of Jeannie childhood, of the idea of having this sort of bottle and this really rich, luxurious interior life when the exterior is very earthy and natural, and I kind of like that combination. So that's what I'm up to.
Stephen Kinney is probably the most well-known artist we visited this year. His style is a wonderful mix of surrealism, realism, and whimsy. Looking at it, it inspires an almost childlike, joyful feeling, like the first time you appreciated absurd things in life. His unique style is beloved by many, but his level of skill doesn't come overnight. Stephen has been painting for over 40 years. His attention to detail and the skill found in his techniques are apparent, as you can plainly see.
So this is brand new, just started this today, and it's going to a gallery that I work with in St. Pete, Florida. So I wanted to do something with a beach scene. So she's spending her day at the beach, and she's actually sort of buried in the sand, but she's going to have this necklace of giant pearls that she'll be wearing. And here's a sandpiper in the foreground scurrying around. She's got her fancy drink there with an umbrella. And then on her head, you can see this giant clamshell that she's wearing for a hat. And then I forget what kind of flower this is, but she'll have a bright red flower in the corner or on the side of the hat, with the sea in the background with some sand, obviously, and then blue sky above her with probably some clouds. So once that's done, it should fit right into the Florida aesthetic down there. Yeah, a lot of the work that I do is portrait based, but I work a lot from antique black and white photos. So that's where this person came from. And I like working from a black and white image and then having to add the color. It makes it a fun challenge. And usually in all of my paintings, I'm working from some sort of photographic reference. So I'll go and find photos that I can use as models for the other elements in the paintings too. And then sometimes I'll have to take my own photographs or just actually make it up from scratch, depending on, you know, what the painting needs. My style, I usually say, is call myself a surrealist, which basically just means that I bring together various elements that ordinarily don't belong together and create this environment for them. And surrealism is a style that goes back to technically the 1930s. That's kind of when that term was coined. And so I've always enjoyed working realistically, but never been satisfied just with straightforward realism. So I always enjoy mixing it up and adding other elements that don't go together. So, and working in oil is a pleasure too. I just really love the color and the layering that goes on, and slowly building up color to finally get to the finished painting. I really like that. It's really a classical sort of way of working, and I really enjoy that. I've technically been painting since graduating from college. I went to the Rhode Island School of Design, graduated in '84, and initially started working as an illustrator, commercial illustrator, and then slowly transitioned into painting for galleries and private commissions and that sort of thing. So I guess it's been 40 years now. Well, it's really fun. I love it.
Our last stop on the trail is Peter Maxwell of Wild Tribe Woodworks. Using chainsaws, Dremels, and a variety of power tools, he creates beautiful wood sculptures. Inspired by nature and his remote home in Floyd County, you can find him many days in his outdoor wood shop.
My name's Peter Bain. I'm a wood sculptor. I've been wood sculpting for about 6 years now. Studio here is called Wild Tribe Woodworks. I apprenticed underneath a master woodworker named William Kuwinga, and his studio is Beach Hollow Studios out of Dowelltown, Tennessee. Lived out there with him for 3 years off the grid, just watching William, figuring out how he does what he does, and never tried my own stuff until moving here to Floyd. And a couple years after moving here to Floyd, I picked up a saw and said, let's go. And that was 6 years ago. So I was keyed into the whiskey drip tables through social media, actually, and it turns out that the folks in like the Philippines, Indonesia area of the world have been doing freehand chainsaw milling. I do a Alaskan style chainsaw milling on the side as well, but out there they'll just walk down a log with a big old chainsaw in their hands wearing flip-flops and do a perfectly straight line all by eye. And they realize that when they get to the end of the log, they can curve their cuts because they don't have anything preventing them from turning the cut in the process. And they started creating these tables that drooped off on one side and created a leg. And they would do them as almost like a nesting dove type set of tables where they'd do a big one and then they'd do a smaller one and then eventually like a small bench. And they've been doing them for a very long time out there, but for some reason not a lot of folks do them here in the US. And I saw it a couple years ago online and said, you know what, I'm going to give it a whirl. And I had this big tree sitting in the yard that had a barbed wire fence growing through its a lower section of it. So I felt like it was the perfect opportunity to give it a whirl. And yeah, it turned out really nice. I like that table. Well, this piece is the wood version of a clay series that I just did. I haven't touched clay ever since 7th grade, way back. And recently I got the inspiration to start playing again from the Floyd Center for the Arts. They offered to, give me some clay or sell me some clay to play with. And I made a series of these kind of sad people hunched over, crying. So what we have here is the larger wood final product in the works. So one day it'll be that, but right now it's in the roughing out stages. We're still using the chainsaw, but it'll get there one day. The bird in flight was another, that one's been pretty difficult for me. This is the first piece that I've ever tried to create from a photo. That was a photo a nature photographer took. I can't remember his name right now. But I saw the picture and really wanted to try to go ahead and reproduce it in wood. So that's a piece of black walnut that I started a year and a half ago, probably. And then got discouraged because there's a lot of constraint in working off a 2D image, whereas most of my other stuff is born from itself. It doesn't have a blueprint beforehand. I just start cutting in the wood and it ends up being what it wants to be. When you're working off a 2D image, a picture, you're trying to make it look like the picture. There's a lot more that goes into it. So that piece got set aside for a good year after getting discouraged, and just this morning I got the inspiration to go ahead and finish it up. So I've been putting in some hours on that, and it's coming along. And the block that was there for me a year ago isn't there anymore. So sometimes you got to do that. A lot of these pieces I'll rough out, and then they'll sit for a year to 2 to 3. The big one in there, the twin flame spiral piece there, was started 4 years ago, technically, and then I let it sit for a year and then picked it up again, and that happens. Just inspiration strikes when it does. That's a good question. Currently working on a website for wildtribewoodworks.com, but it is not up and running. So the best ways to contact me for commission jobs or to check out some artwork would be either social media platforms, Pete Bain on Facebook, Wild Tribe Woodworks on Instagram, or email pmbain.mb@gmail.com is a good one, or reach out by phone.
I want to thank all the artists on the trail who took the time to speak with us about their work and their willingness to share it with you. If you missed the trail this year, please mark your calendars next year for the beginning of June and check out some of these artists who open their studios to the public. If you were able to make it this year, then I am willing to bet you will be on the trail next year. If you're able. I'll see you there.